Sometimes people spend years trying to survive by proving they are strong enough, they're wise enough, or prepared enough. But real covering begins when pride ends. And that will not be a weakness, it is trust. It is the admission that some battles cannot be won by human effort alone. There are moments when life feels uncertain, relationships become disappointing, and even your own thoughts feel strange. In those moments, many people run towards distraction, approval that end up being control. But this lesson points to somewhere different. It points upward. It says the safest place is not in your own hands, but in the hands of God, meaning that you are trusting for His protection, His correction, His comfort, and direction all at once. Sometimes divine love does not look like immediate rescue. Sometimes it looks like separation from what was harming you. Sometimes it looks like closed doors. Sometimes it looks like silence that teaches trust. The deeper message I want you to understand is that when you believe and know that you're being held by God, it often requires letting go of what you are holding too tightly, such as old pain, false security, unhealthy connections, and fears. Fears that can keep you stuck. But when you surrender, you create room for restoration. Stop asking only for blessings and start asking for closeness with God. A blessing without God can become another distraction. But when God holds you, even difficult seasons begin to serve a greater purpose. The real prayer is not, Lord, make life easy. The real prayer is, Lord, keep me close enough that nothing can pull me away. Because when God holds you in His divine love, what was sent to break you become the very thing that brings you back to Him. And divine love is often misunderstood because people measure love by comfort, while God measures love by transformation. Human love frequently will ask questions as, how do I keep this person close, seeking control? Divine love asks, how do I return this person to who they were created to be? Those are not the same thing. One can be obsession and possession. The other is restoration. You may pray for closeness, and instead God removes people. You ask for peace, and hidden truths begin to surface. You ask to be held, and suddenly everything unstable begins to leave your life. Later, you realize it was rescue all along. Love is not always soft. Sometimes love arrives as being exposed, corrected, and the refusal of heaven to let you keep destroying yourself. That is mercy. A parent who sees a child running toward danger does not smile politely and say nothing. Love intervenes, love interrupts, and love will risk being misunderstood for the sake of protection. Divine love operates with that same authority. It is not interested in temporary emotional relief because that relief can lead you further from the truth. Oftentimes, spiritual or saved individuals associate love with sacrifice to the point they wear themselves out. They believe being loved means being endlessly available, endlessly forgiving, endlessly depleted. But divine love does not train you to disappear. It teaches you rightful order. God does not hold you so you can become smaller. He holds you so you can become whole and great in His name. There is a reason certain relationships become difficult when you begin returning to yourself, because there will be people who have benefited from you not knowing how great you are, will resist you being restored. They believe in calling your exhaustion loyalty. That's the excuse they use, and they need you to believe it, that you have to be available to respond to every communication, to open your door at every knock. They call your silence peace, and they call your overextending love, but heaven calls it misplacement. They need for you to be silent for them to maintain their peace of mind so they can remain in their comfort and not be accountable and not even grow. See, divine love begins correcting names. It teaches you that peace is not pretending. Love is not being depleted and overwhelmed. Loyalty is not abandoning yourself, neglecting your needs, because service is not slavery. Compassion does not give the world permission to abuse you. Take your compassionate self and go elsewhere, where it will be well received. Everyone isn't like that. And so this is why being held by God can feel like being dismantled, because he begins to remove false definitions before he restores true identity. You learn what you are not before you learn who you are. He will not let you build your life on lies simply because those lies are all you've ever known. It doesn't mean it's right, so he has to correct it. Your identity is based on what he says you are. Divine love does not merely comfort pain. It confronts the agreements that created it. And that is liberating for the soul, because eventually you realize what love actually is. Love is not an attachment that brings you down and drains you. It's not your dependency on a relationship and fear of being lonely. And you are not dressed as devoted. You don't have to wear the clothes literally or speak the language. But divine love is ordered love, and it is also restoring love. The kind of love that would rather wound your illusion than protect your destruction. And when that love finds you, and it will, your life begins to change in ways people around you may not understand. And so you will stop begging to stay where God is asking you to leave. You will stop grieving doors that heaven locked for your safety. And you stop confusing delay with abandoning your dreams and walking away from your purpose. You begin to understand that sometimes the greatest proof of divine love is not what God allowed to remain, but what he refused to let follow you into your future. And people can resist your restoration because your healing changes the role you used to play in their world. When you were wounded, you have been easier to and more comforting to have around. You apologized too quickly. You explained yourself too much. You absorbed blame that did not even belong to you. You stayed available for people who never tried to understand your pain. They didn't even see you. They just needed you useful. And see, when you begin to be restored by God divinely, that changes. That changes your role. That changes what you agreed to without even knowing. See, suddenly the person who once accepted mistreatment begins asking questions. The person who used to stay silent begins naming what they see. The person who once felt guilty for needing peace and rest and time to themselves, to work on themselves, to work on their goals, to build a life, begins to protect that. And that will create conflict. And it's not because restoration is wrong or such a bad thing to do, but because certain people will build comfort around your brokenness. As long as you have something to talk about, complain about, and gossip with, you're okay. Because what happens is as you begin to grow, learn, accept, surrender, you'll notice that those same friends who you may have known forever become a little uncomfortable. Human beings do not only relate to who you are, they relate to the role you occupy in their internal world. If you were the caretaker, the scapegoat, the emotional absorber, the agreeable one, the fixer, or the one who always came back, then your restoration disrupts their order. So they may not say, I need you unhealed so I can keep benefiting from you, because you're beginning to look at things differently. Instead, it'll come out as criticism. You've changed. You think you're better. You're acting different. But underneath those phrases are often a deeper confession. You can't be controlled anymore. You are not easily manipulated. And you are understanding the relationships for what they were, not for who you are. See, restoration requires a new identity. And not everyone is willing to meet the restored version of you. Some people only know how to love your wounds because your wounds made room for their dysfunction. They knew how to approach you when you doubted yourself, when you didn't have anyone that had your back. You didn't have anyone to talk to, complain. They knew how to pull you back through obligation, desperation, and needs. So when God begins holding you differently, people around you may test whether the old doorway is still open. They get lonely too. Their needs and desires are not being met when your usefulness is gone. They'll keep you around while talking about you the entire time, not telling what you add to their life. So they'll bring up the past, they'll question your motives, and they will make your healing seem selfish or uncalled for. And they punish your boundaries by becoming more distant. So if you call them or you expect to be able to visit with them, you are met with coldness. So they act injured by the very peace that is saving your life. Resistance from others is not proof that your restoration has failed or is not real. Sometimes it is the proof that it is finally real. Because restoration is not merely feeling better. Restoration is the return of rightful order. It means your yes becomes honest, your no becomes clean, and your presence becomes chosen and not extracted. And the people who depend on your confusion will often experience your healing as betrayal. But you are not betraying them. You are refusing to betray yourself before God. Thank you for visiting my channel, and may your souls be blessed. Stay covered, stay conscious, and stay undefeated. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.